chapters 35 to 43. It's out on the 5th of March. Yeah, okay, so the whole album's is basically an autobiographical account of a load of events that happened to me in life. There's some big life events that happened. And so they're different tales of different things. And when I thought back about what these events were and over what time frame they happened, I realised that basically they started happening when I was about 35 and I finished writing the album when I was 43, so 35 to 43. Yeah, so it's different for all of them, obviously. I mean, there's some really kind of gut-wrenchingly sad songs and there's some overwhelmingly happy songs too. So it's a different process for each of them. But I mean, I suppose one of the things that I've always done in some form is just document stuff, always. So I either write just notes or write poetry or write lyrics. Sometimes I put them to songs, sometimes I don't. I paint. And so there's always some sort of documentation about what's been happening. And so in this, with these stories, obviously they're a collection of songs. And I mean, with Where Were You Before, the single, the most recent single, for example, that was just this huge sense of overwhelming delight and magic about life. A brain tumour. So I've always been creative. I've always painted. I bought my first guitar when I was a kid. I wasn't very good, and I've written and I write stories and stuff. But really, it was getting a brain tumour diagnosis, and then having a 2 or 3 week window before I had the results to tell me that it was benign and I was going to be okay. And in that 2 or 3 weeks, and that's what the first single, When All Is Almost Lost, is about. That's why it's got that kind of primal, meditative, like almost repetitive vibe. I was really thinking it through, this really, I don't know, it makes you really analyse your life and work out what's important and what's not. And so at that point, something psychologically shifted in me that made me think, oh, I got to do this stuff. Let's just get it out there. And I wonder actually if something physiologically also happened and sort of gave me the biological impetus to do it. So definitely from that moment I've been seriously creative since then. Yeah. So it's tricky. I think it's been described, so different songs so far have been described as sort of alternative folk, alternative indie folk, and so it sits somewhere in an alternative indie folk. But I mean, there are different tracks on the album, I mean, I Am Dragon, for example, has got almost an alt country vibe. And yeah, yeah, it's fire, I love that. And there's another track, We Shine, and it's, I mean, I really stripped back some of the guitars in that, and we've got, it's synthed up, and so it's still alt folky, but it's, yeah, they play with genres a bit, I think. So I don't know, I mean, I really don't mind what I don't have a target audience. The digital music's changing because of the digital world, and so a lot of people are just doing singles. They're just doing singles, just releasing music and pushing each one like it's a single, and actually albums aren't being done. I like doing albums. Albums are good. I like buying an album, putting an album on. So there will be more stuff that's coming individually, but it's the album now, and then we're going to focus on them pushing videos for each song. Yeah, so I'm enjoying it. I love it. I think that they're totally different. And these guys are amazing. If we look at some of the shots and some of the footage that we've had already, it's really cool. So I'm really enjoying that, and I'm really grateful. I think I'm excited about the prospect of having a video for every song. I remember, like I said to Tapan, a while ago when we first started talking about this idea. You know, I remember ages ago when the Super Furry Animals released an album on CD called Rings Around the World, and then a few months later they released the album on DVD, but they had a video for every song, so you just watched the album and there's a video for every song. It was quality, it was really cool, I loved it. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? I mean, it is for everyone to interpret, you know, and I think everyone will interpret it a little differently. And we're almost taking this at three angles, because each of the songs has got its own piece of artwork too. So each single so far has got a separate painting which has been done for that single. And so on all of the, on all of the promo stuff, for example, the paintings that are relevant for each song. So Dragon, for example, has got a big landscape that's a rocky landscape, and actually some of the rocks are a dragon that's just not obvious immediately. And it's been a constant theme with the others too. Yeah, they're my paintings too, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, for obvious reasons. But the thing is, so the kids and Lucy have heard all of these songs from, the moment where I just sat down with a guitar, put a couple of chords together and, started playing around with a little bit of a melody and developed it, so for a year or something. And so they've heard all stages of all of these songs. And so it's good that they're not sick of them and that they enjoy them. But I think that there are different favourites at different times. There's each month there's perhaps a new favourite. But yeah, Where Were You Before is a big one. So I like, just from a song point of view, the song that ends the album is called And Then You Were Gone, and it's almost instrumental. It's pretty sparse in terms of lyrics, and it's like a memorial song for my mum, who was Australian. And so there's a big Australian vibe in there. There's laughing kookaburras, we got a didgeridoo playing a really prominent part all the way through, and it's a kind of slow, rumbly song, but it feels like it gets me to the core. It almost makes you vibrate, and I love it. It's a lovely way to finish, and I've got ideas when we're allowed to play live again. I've got ideas about that being the final song and really turning it into a floor stomper, and sending everyone off on an absolute go.